Hello, good evening. I hope the start to the weekend is a promising one, wherever in the world you are. I'm not doing much this evening. I know it's a Friday night or Friday evening or Friday afternoon for some people, but I'm not doing very much this evening. I just like to sit in and write a bit. So I thought it would be just good to have a write with me session this evening, in case anyone is indoors and has no plans whatsoever. Just one second, I'm going to adjust my microphone. I always put my and yeah, I hope everyone can hear me all right. I had a live yesterday and it was an absolute disaster because for some reason none of it actually worked properly. I don't know what happened. If you can't hear me, by the way, just let me know and I'll adjust the sound accordingly. And if you can hear me, that's fantastic. So I did quite a lot of writing last night. I spilt quite a lot of ink. And it was rather fun. I am enjoying these sessions, I must say. So I thought, why not just have it all today as well, since I have no plans whatsoever. So just to show you how much can actually be achieved by sitting down with someone and writing. In the last 2 or 3 sessions we've had, all this has been written down. Actually, this has been in the last 2 sessions. One session was the one before the last one, and the last one was yesterday, which wasn't actually recorded or properly saved to YouTube because I use a third-party app. But this was everything that was written in the last session. And this is everything from yesterday. And if you look, it's quite a lot of work. So this is what you can actually achieve when you actually just sit down and get the work done. And I think as human beings, we want an instant result, don't we? So this is just approximately 12 pages with a few gaps in the pages. But this is what you can actually achieve if you just sit down and do the work. And I think within a few months, within perhaps 6 months, a year, you can have a fully completed book. It can be completed way faster than that, but you do have to sit down and write consistently. Okay, so this is a chapter I'm still working on, and I am quite enjoying it from my Heathen series. It's that series right there, and I am quite enjoying it, I must admit. And in this scene I'm working on, it follows a warlock who is being approached by some other magical folk that he knows, and they're having a conversation. But he's a warlock who's living in our world as a human, but he's not really human because he has magical powers, but the other humans don't know that. So he's suddenly approached by these other people, and they are old friends of his. So I am quite enjoying the storyline here, and that's what I want to continue with today. So once again, if you can't hear me, just let me know. Not a problem, and I will try and sort it out. So I have really been enjoying writing with the ink and pen. I've really been enjoying it. It's been so therapeutic for me. So I think I'm just going to continue because it's been just so lovely writing with this. Once again, and it's quite ironic that this is one of the cheapest nibs I've ever had. It was so cheap. I think I bought it at a novelty store in London years ago, and it works. I find it easier to write with than all the other fancier nibs I've had, so I don't know why that's the case. I don't know. It's all very odd. I'm going to put some music on, And if you want, you can write along, or you can just work on whatever you want to work on creatively. And once again, I think these sessions aren't just for people who want to write. Maybe people who want to paint, people who want to create, just people who want to create anything and just need a positive space with creative people. Because I think when you're not around creative people, it's slightly more challenging, I think, because they sort of wonder why you're doing certain things and why don't you get a real job, and all these little microaggressions that you really don't need if you are a creative person or you just want to create. Okay, so I've done 12 pages of this, and this is a full size. I'm just going to check my alignment. A bit further down, aren't I? And this is a full size A4 sheet, so I think it's got about 33 lines. So this works out approximately to about 330 words per page. Okay, and I'm enjoying. I'm loving writing this series. To be honest, I'm really loving it. So I start with desperation, or perhaps they are just evil. Remember how House of Amori came to be known in its true nature. Yes, we've all heard that gruesome story. Fantastic. I just want to remind myself of where I stopped yesterday. Okay. So my ink writing has been slightly messy, but I think I'm just going to have to deal with that because I'm just loving doing this. I never thought I'd miss writing with a pen so much, but here we are. Right. So this is page 13. Oh, thank you, Book Lover. That's lovely. Thank you. If you're writing along as well, please do let me know what you're working on. I'll be really interested to hear. what the storyline is. Oh, hiya, Tareem Saida. Thank you very much. And that's amazing that you're writing a scene. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what's really good about these writing sessions. You can write whatever pops into your head and see if it actually fits into your storyline or the general plot of the story. Now, I've realized that in the last few pages I've written, I've made a very crucial mistake where one of my characters should not really be in this scene because there's been basically she's run away from the sanctuary, the witch sanctuary. So I've got to try and tie up that loose end before my editor notices. But obviously, I'm going to have time to do that anyway. But these sessions are just to do a huge word dump and just put lots of words and thoughts down, and then you can tidy them up later. But I think the more you think about them without writing them down or typing them up, the more likely you are to forget. Yeah, book lover, just start with 5 minutes, perhaps start with 5 minutes of writing, and then just go from there, just see what pops up. But just sit down, make yourself sit down and just start writing, and just start with whatever pops into your head and then go from there. I find it extremely easy to write with this pen. The only thing is you have to dip the nib in the ink every few minutes or whatever, but I find it extremely easy to write with this type of pen. And I just write it because I like the sound against the paper. The scratchy noise. I love the scratching noises. They remind me of when my grandfather used to write letters, so I just love that sound. But you could also get like a fountain pen as well with that particular nib. But I think the better ones are a lot more expensive. But they are lovely, and you just very basic. You just dip them in ink. Oh yeah, thank you. It is quite wholesome actually. I do miss listening to him write. Yeah. So the only slight issue with this pen is it just takes slightly longer than I expect to dry, but I don't mind. That's the only issue with writing with these pens, these nibs. They just take a while to dry, but I think that's fine for me. I don't really mind. Just so people know, because I think people think that it dries pretty much instantly, but it gets very wet and very splodgy as well. Just gonna sip of my tea. Bleeding through, they don't always bleed through. I mean, I don't know how that happened, but it did happen. I don't know if you can see that. But if you look on the other end, side, it's not too bad. You can actually write. So it doesn't actually bleed through. I mean, this is quite good paper. So, however, sometimes when I blot the ink, I just use my, so I don't use a special paper or anything there. He was protecting Luca, he surmised. There was obviously a lot of danger where they were headed. What could be that important, or that much of a danger to them? I'm working on a continuation of a series, of this series. So this is what I'm working on right now. And I'm just sort of working through pages. And I'm working on a certain chapter that's going to come later on in the series. And it's going to tie in neatly to the whole series. And it's quite a important scene. So the series I'm writing, Heathens, it's witches and warlocks, and like it's witches, warlocks, magical creatures, and they live in a sanctuary in London, and they've been hunted for several centuries by humans. So they're just in hiding in plain sight, so to speak, and that's what I'm working on at the moment. I type it all up word for word, which is why I think when I write, I don't write so quickly, I write fairly slowly because I'm actually thinking about every word I'm writing. So when I do type it onto a computer, it's word for word, so I will actually type it as it's written first, and then I'll just go back and read it properly and then start to do my own edits. So I tend to do about 2 edits, first draft, second draft, before I send it off to an editor. But what you don't want to do is send it off to an editor a complete mess, because that's very, very inconvenient for your poor editor, and it means that they have to do a lot more work. Oh, you should definitely make time to write more often, Just Katie. It's It's so important, and even if you're not writing with an end goal in mind, it's just so important for the soul, and I think it's so therapeutic as well. Whether you're writing poetry or short stories or whatever you're writing, it's so important. In my opinion, I think if we did it a lot more, there'd be a lot less strife and stress in the world. So I'm not actually keeping to the rules really because this is one person speaking this sentence here because they were troubled, question mark. And then yes, apparently. So this is a response. So really this should start on the next line. But because I'm not writing it like I'm writing a book, it's going to come out in book form. But because I just want to use as much space as possible, I'm writing it on the same line, but I'm distinguishing between the two speakers. So just so that you don't have, maybe if you have a very quick rapid sentence of two people speaking, you have like three words per line. This just saves a lot more space. So I do this sometimes just to but obviously when it comes to typing it out, when I type the two phrases out, I type the second one on the second line because that's a response. So you can break a lot of rules as long as you don't break them in the final manuscript before it goes to print. Yeah, it's not drying quickly enough. It's just a bit of wet ink there. And I'm just waiting for it to go away. Oh no, I've written all my life. I've written since I was a kid. My earliest memories are pen and paper writing. I've always written, so I don't know how to do anything else. Even if I wasn't writing books, I'd still be writing because it's something I've always done and I found it so therapeutic. It's not something that's come to me in later life. It's something I've just always done and I've always enjoyed doing. And I think because my mother used to write as well, she loved writing. There used to be bundles of paper everywhere, so I just got so used to inks and pens and paper and journals and notepads. So when you write, do you tend to aim for a certain number of words or a certain amount of time, or do you just aim for a certain number of sheets of paper? Let me know in the comments. Be interesting to know. I usually aim for. I usually just tear out some sheets of paper, and I usually do about two at a time. And my aim is to just write. And then usually I have to opt for more paper. But the aim is just to tear out two sheets of paper and just write to my heart's content. And it's normally quite effective. However, if maybe I'm tired, I'm not very motivated, or I'm just a bit lacking in inspiration, what I do then is I simply start with 5 minutes. I set my timer on my phone, set my timer for 5 minutes, and I have to write for 5 minutes. And usually the timer goes off, 5 minutes have gone past, but I'm still writing. And it's such a good way to begin to motivate yourself to get writing in the first place. Ah, a scene. Okay, that's a good start. Just writing a scene. Yeah, that works actually. That works really well. 300 words per writing session. Yeah, sometimes it's hard, but if you stick to a certain amount of time, I just put some background music on and completely block out the sound of the outside world. You tend to go for a lot longer than you were expecting. So it's really good. I have a playlist I use. My playlists are all on YouTube. Unfortunately, due to copyright issues, I can't actually play them on a live stream. But I am working on a playlist from Epidemic Sound because I'm on Epidemic Sound and they have some amazing playlists, but some amazing music that's very moody and dark and would be really good for different genres of writing. The only issue is I'm still compiling it because a lot of the songs are about 5 minutes long, so I'm still compiling an hour long playlist, which takes a while. So I think you have to set the right mood with the right type of music. But I definitely do listen to music. I also listen to, I don't know if you know, Two Steps from Hell. Two Steps from Hell are very good, and I tend to use them to write epic scenes, epic battle scenes, or epic, when something major is about to happen. So definitely. Yeah, exactly. I have playlists as well. But do check out Two Steps from Hell. Is it Two Steps from Hell? Yeah, it's Two Steps from Hell. They're absolutely amazing, and they're very good for different scenes as well. But it's you can't use it on a live stream, unfortunately. You can use it when you're writing privately, but you can't actually use it on a live stream. So that's the only issue. I've never heard of Lo-Fi Girl. I'll check that out definitely. Lo-Fi Girl. interesting. Okay, Studio Ghibli. I've heard of Studio Ghibli. Oh, fascinating. I'll check it out. I do have some playlists I love using for writing, especially dark fantasy. But now, and obviously Two Steps from Hell are amazing as well. I've heard of Howl's Moving Castles. I did not know that was a studio thingy. Oh, interesting. I've heard of Howl's Moving Castles. Oh, that's fascinating to know. Happy writing, Saida. See you later. Okay, so I've done 15 pages now, which is absolutely amazing. And these are 15 pages of A4. So this is a bit smudgy still, but it doesn't matter. And that's how much you can get done in these writing sessions. And it's absolutely amazing. Now, I'm going to end it there because I'm sure a lot of people have things to do on a Friday night. But I think very important, thank you guys so much for joining this evening. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you are inspired as well to keep writing. So if you've only started and you're having a good writing run, just keep going until you're exhausted. And that's how it's done. And I'll see you all in the next live stream. I'm not going to do one on Saturday or Sunday. I will have the next one on Tuesday evening at, I'll put it on my community tab. And then anyone who wants to join, it's usually 7 p.m., 6 p.m. GMT. So 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, which I think is about 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, something like that. But I'll put a community post up, and it'll be like on Tuesday, the next one. Okay, so there is a video coming out tomorrow, but do have a look at it, and I will see you next week. Have a lovely weekend.